Hi there. This is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about vitamin D, vitamin K2, and COVID. This is in the series of things we've talked about COVID, and this is another interesting one. From the prefecture in Japan, where Fukushima power plant is located, we find there has been some of the lowest levels of COVID infection in all of Japan, and that's been attributed to eating natto. And we do know from studies of ICUs that if you measure matrix GLA protein in your blood, and that's a protein that is activated, we can measure the unactivated protein. So when you measure that, what you're measuring is the lack of K2. And folks with the highest amount have the lowest amount of K2, and they have the highest mortality in ICUs from COVID. That's interesting. But it turns out that in a petri dish model with COVID virus, the natto effect completely blocked by heating it ahead of time. And when you heat it, you inactivate certain proteins. Now that's really interesting. It may be that there's a protein in natto that's going along with it for the ride, and that's actually what's causing the benefit. And the K2 just happens to be associated with it, but not exactly the cause of it. Very interesting. And what this brings to light is the whole concept of Bruce Ames' triage theory that says our bodies need hundreds of different nutrients, but it's only the one that becomes critically short at just the right time that guides evolution. So we may have many nutrients that are just partially or quite close to deficient, but they don't cause trouble, just we're sort of skating along the edge. But they work in concert together in a complex web that we're just beginning to understand. So here's an example of a study that exemplifies that. We don't quite understand. What is that protein? I think that's very interesting to find those little links where we see missing pieces that haven't been studied yet. K2 and D work together, obviously, and they're incredibly synergistic. There must be a protein missing somewhere. There must be a layer we haven't gotten to. Stay tuned. We're going to find it out one of these days. But what am I doing? I would encourage you to make sure you're on extra K2 right now, and make sure you're on your vitamin D, because that's also been associated with increased mortality. Dr. John Whitcomb, News and Nutrition. Stay well.